Okay, Galesteo Goes to the Library. This is a book about a very special cat that we rescued from the Humane Society about 4 years ago. And he has had a number of adventures, and his first adventure was when he came to this library here. And when I was regaling my friends with our cat and the funny things he did, they all said, "You've got to write a book." And so I thought, okay. And I had these drawings that my grandchildren had done, and I decided I'd use them in the background as sort of like modern art. And then I did the other drawings. And so this is the story of when Galesteo goes to the library. He says, and he's talking. "I used to be called Rascal, sneezing and scratching in my small cage at the SPCA. I hoped someone nice would rescue me. After all, who wouldn't want a sweet orange and white cat with yellow gold eyes? Mr. and Mrs. B did. It was my lucky day because the minute they saw me, I could tell I was going to get out of here and head for a new home. I also got a new name, one with dignity and elegance, Galesteo. Even better, my new home was almost downtown in an old historic house. It was just right for an ambitious adventurer like me. There were trees with birds galore, friendly cats next door, and alleys to explore. I had to stay indoors at first. Then one day I was allowed outside to play, and I met up with Hemingway, a six-toed cat. We ran down the street and hid in the bushes like the most earnest and courageous of characters. I didn't even notice the hands that grabbed me, and wham! I was back in my old cage at the SPCA. But, lucky for me, I had a little microchip in my neck, and it only took a phone call to be rescued by the bees. I even ignored the SPCA lady who still insisted on calling me Rascal. The bees were relieved to have me back and thought I was lonely. They decided to get me a playmate. They went back to the SPCA and chose a kitten who was spunky and eager for a new home. He got a new name too, full of glamour and sophistication, Don Gaspar. Now there were two of us. After a few weeks, we were allowed to go outside. I had a new bright blue collar with an orange heart on it. The heart had my name and address printed on it. Don Gaspar and I played in our yard. We climbed the big oak trees, hid under the large leafy plants, and only went next door to eat the grass in the vegetable garden. One of the cats next door welcomed us. His name was Chaps. He looked like Don Gaspar. They were both black and white, but Chaps was older. He liked to watch Don Gaspar teeter at the top of the fig tree. Every day, Don Gaspar and I went outside to play. One day I wasn't paying attention and I crossed the street and lost my voice. Later that night, while crouching under a big white van, I heard a voice call, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty." I ran right for the girl's arms. She said her name was Bridget. Lucky for me, she could read my name tag. "Galesteo," she said, "I'm going to take you home." She was so nice and never even called me Rascal for getting lost. I was so happy to be home. Don Gaspar greeted me by pouncing on me, and the bees petted me as I purred and purred. Life was perfect. Then something went wrong. I'm ashamed to say I lost my pretty blue collar with the orange heart on it. Worse, I couldn't find my house. I was really lost again. This time Bridget wasn't calling to me, and I had to hide under a bush to wait for morning. It was scary. When the sun came out, I looked around. There was a big Spanish-style building across the busy street with people climbing up the stairs and going in and coming out the big doors. Maybe the bees would be there, I thought, or at least some food and water. After my night in the bush, I was hungry and thirsty. I mustered my dignity, held my head high, and ran for the building. I saw some people disappearing through a doorway on the ground level instead of going up the big flight of stairs. I headed straight for that doorway where there was a big sign that spelled Public Library. I crept along the pathway going to the door with a special pad in front of it. When I stepped on it, the door opened up. There was a big gray box right inside. What was it for? It had two doors that were open, so I stepped inside. Oops. the doors closed and it moved upward. When it stopped, the doors opened all by themselves and I walked right out. I was in a huge room where towering shelves had hundreds of books signed up on them. There were many people too. And when they saw me come through the gray doors, they all wanted me. Hands reached out to hold and pet me. A nice lady named Rita took me into her office and gave me food. She must have thought I was an Italian cat because she gave me lasagna. It was good too. Other people came in the office to pet me. I was a celebrity. Then I climbed on the counter where even more people came to see me. All kinds of people liked to pet me, including little children, senior citizens, and some people who didn't even have homes. One librarian, Mrs. Peterson, wanted to put me outside to see if I would go home. Didn't she know I was lost? Carol, the research librarian, wanted to keep me inside. Maybe I was a good omen for the library and could become the mascot. Lots of people offered to take me home, and no one called me rascal. Given my friendly nature, I enjoyed meeting all the people, so I hung out behind the counter where the books were being checked out. I wandered in and around the librarian's legs, rubbing them and getting attention, hoping for more gourmet tidbits of food. Mrs. Peterson won out. She put me outside, but I was clever. I ran up the stairs to the doors and meowed until Rita let me in. This was a fun game. 3 times we played the game. The people sitting on the steps all took turns petting me, so I purred and I purred like a real motorboat. I even rode the elevator. That's what the big gray box was called. One more time. Then disaster struck. The hands on the big clock showed 5 o'clock, and I was in trouble. The doors were locked, and Mrs. Peterson put me on the side of the library with the busy street. The cars were so noisy and moving so fast that I ran right back to the stairs. I was scared and all alone. Then I heard it. I heard her voice. "Galesteo, what are you doing here?" It was Bridget. She'd come to drop off her books at the library. She hugged me tight and took me to her house. She thought it was hot, so she gave me water with ice cubes in it. Then she asked her father to drive me home. I could see Don Gaspar sitting inside the house at the front window. I ran up to it, pawing at him as he pawed back at me. We were best pals, and I was home at last. The next day, I got a brand new bright yellow collar with my name, Galesteo, engraved on a purple heart. This is his thing, the real collar. It's the real Galesteo collar.
Does he wear it?
Yeah.
He still wears it.
I had taken it off the other day because I thought it was a little tight. And then I was going to put it back on. I thought, no, I'll wait. I'll just bring it down here so you can see. This is legit. This is a true story.
Did you see the collar?